And Williams is not that coordinated, and he lands his little short punches, but he's just not doing enough of it.
CompuBox numbers in round 10, power punches. Margarito opening up, 17 out of 76. Williams, 14 out of 61.
Williams has never been in these championship rounds before. It would be a pretty good idea, being here in California, Margarito country, for Williams to win one of these last two rounds if he wants to get the decision.
The judges are from California, Ohio, and California. The crowd is trying to cheer Williams into contention in the fight. Or excuse me, cheer Margarito into contention in the fight. Although certainly Williams has made some fans here tonight with his non-stop style. Emmanuel, do you see Antonio Margarito gaining any ground in his quest here?
Yes, he's landed more clean punches the last two rounds than he's landed in the entire fight, for as I can see.
Hard right hand by Margarito.
A lot of short right there, little short punches. He's getting closer and landing right hands continually now.
Big left hand uppercut by Margarito. Williams keeps throwing. Margarito thinks he's done some damage.
That lies the problems for Margarito. Even though he's landing, he cannot take a break, because once he slows down, Williams will continue to go right back to pumping and winning points again.
Margarito has Williams in the deep water that fighters talk about, where he's never been before.
Blood from above the left eye of Paul Williams. Williams is bleeding over his left eye. Margarito is strafing him with power shots inside. Big right hand. Antonio Margarito, another right hand on the cut. Paul Williams fading ever so slightly here in the 11th. Margarito with another straight right hand shot. This has been a huge round for Antonio Margarito now, who desperately needed it.
Remember, Jim, in the interview when Margarito said he would have to win this fight with his will, and that's what he's trying to do right this minute.
But what has happened right there, as soon as he slowed down, Paul Williams is consistently still. Even though he got hit a lot, Paul is still right back taking control again. And that's what's giving him the advantage in consistency.
Fascinating. Though put on the defensive by Margarito, Williams' response isn't to go on the defensive at all, but rather to throw as many jabs as he can to seize the initiative back. Paul Williams fighting in the 11th round for the first time in his career finds it very tough going. Antonio Margarito has started to make his point, but is it too late?
Deep breath, Paul. Paul, this is the last round. Wake up. This is the last round, brother. Okay? Listen, you still can do what you want to do with this guy. Okay? But listen, you stand in the pocket too long. He's going to come out in that Paul and try to stop you. You got me? Okay, now you got it.
That was your round. That's the way we're going to do it. We got to do the same thing. Attack him. Be first. Block his punch and counterpunch him. Block and counterpunch. That's the way we're going to do it. That's the way we're going to win.
Standing ovation in Carson, California for two fighters who have fought 11 furious rounds. They go to the 12th. If Paul Williams can get off 69 punches in this round, he will have averaged 100 punches per round in the fight. Is it possible to do that and lose? Margarito will hope to make the point.
You heard the instructions from the corner, which Margarito has been doing for the last rounds. Block and counterpunch. Block and counterpunch. But Williams seems highly energized here. Did Margarito punch himself out in the last few rounds?
Emmanuel Stewart, there's a huge cut over the left eye of Paul Williams, but it doesn't seem to bother him for the moment.
No, nothing is going to bother him. He's determined to win this fight, and he's been fighting consistently for the whole 12 rounds, almost every minute of each round he's been fighting. Even when he would lose in spots, he still continued to fight. And that's what's making it so difficult for Margarito to win, because Margarito only can fight in spots.
Margarito with a giant right-hand shot across the top. Williams takes it and comes back with combinations of his own. What courage the young fighter has shown, Emmanuel.
This is a very, very good fight for Williams right now. He's really made Margarito look like a very ordinary fighter.
If Margarito loses, his date with Miguel Cotto goes down the drain. And now you see the outline of the problem Cotto may be facing toward continued progress in the welterweight division. What if at some point he had to face a showdown with a guy who's 6'1"?
And busy all the time, punching and twisting and turning, but all the time punching.
Jim, if Williams wins this fight, the odds are that Mosley will fight Cotto.
That's right. There's no immediate prospect of a fight between Cotto and Williams. It's just that when you consider Cotto's progress well down the road, at some point it could be the logical step. But now 20 seconds to go here, and Antonio Margarito has not been able to get Paul Williams to wear down.
Give the kid his props. He's come back after 2 hard rounds and has won this last round, and that presumably, but not positively, should cement a title victory.
He put a ribbon on it with a big right hook at the end. Both fighters hold their arms up, but one does so way more convincingly. What a performance by young Paul Williams. His debut at the top level of the division, he took on a guy whom a lot of people had seemed to avoid. He met him head-on in the center of the ring and fought him for 12 full rounds.
And the way both of these fighters fought, Jim, it's the type of fight that afterwards you say, I want to see the winner in a big fight, but I want to see the loser as well.
One judge, David Mendoza from California, not a ton of title fight experience. No notable fights for us to report to you. Tom Miller of Ohio, 21 title fights. One of those who scored Sergey Liakovic, the winner over Layman Brewster in Liakovic's decision victory last year. Marty Salmon of California, only 3 title fights, and again, no notable fights for us to report to you. Paul Williams threw 125 punches in the 12th round, his high number for the fight. Harold, how did you score it?
Okay, Jim. 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, Paul Williams. I agree with Larry. Paul did a terrific job in round 12. I mean, you know, you figure the kid would have been tired because he got hammered in rounds 10 and 11. But, boy, he kept Antonio Margarito at the proper distance, threw a zillion punches, just outworked him. That was the story of the fight. He really deserves this fight. I mean, he boxed beautifully. 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, Paul Williams.
There's the cut over the left eye of Williams. Non-essential at this point. And now Jimmy Lennon already has the scores. Let's find out who won the fight with Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, the judges are in agreement. We have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Tom Miller, sees the bout 116 to 112. Judges David Mendoza and Marty Salmon both score the bout 115 to 113. All 3 in favor of the winner and the new WBO welterweight champion of the world, Paul the Punisher Williams.
Paul Williams threw 1,256 punches in 12 rounds against one of the roughest, toughest welterweights alive. And for that, he has a title belt and his biggest victory so far among 33 consecutive wins. Raised in Aiken, South Carolina, trained in Aiken, South Carolina, now lives across the river in Augusta, Georgia. Williams has a giant victory. And for Antonio Margarito, after years of recovering from losses early in his career, when he was not managed or promoted as a top fighter, the long drive toward the top is momentarily halted by Williams' victory. CompuBox numbers are spectacular. Williams landing 78 more punches, or making 88 more punches, and throwing nearly 500, or actually more than 500 more punches, 512 more punches, nearly doubling the punch output. Actually, that graphic does not conform to the final numbers. I have final numbers that show Williams throwing 1,256 punches in the fight and averaging more than 100 punches per round, and I believe those numbers are correct because they come from the computer right in front of me.